This is Dealer of Ideas. Okay, so it seems like I've been starting off my video logs, usually or often, talking about how my sort of interaction with the idea of video logging my journey is like progressing. Like each time I do a video log, it's like how I feel about doing a video log has changed, and so I want to start off talking about that. And so what I've noticed is that like it seems so what the way it's been happening recently is like I definitely have been like continually like thinking about different things and possibilities and coming up with new ideas, but I haven't been taking out the phone and instantly recording them. And that's because they're not like discrete ideas. It's like coming up with a slightly different alternative to an option which is part of like the grander scheme of things, you know? Like I'm not gonna do a new video log each time like that. It would be stupid, waste of time to me, not like useful to anyone else. And so basically it seems like I've just been doing video logs when I get the feeling in my head, and like sometimes it comes, and like just a minute ago it came, and that feeling is just like, oh, now I want to do a video log. And so I've been trying to definitely, in any of those moments, just take out my phone and start doing it. And so the theme of this video log is my Dealer of Ideas platform. And so that's interesting because this video log is a part of the Dealer of Ideas platform, but it's larger than that because this video log is mostly just about like my journey, right? And so the Dealer of Ideas platform is a part of my journey, but the video log is a part of the Dealer of Ideas platform. So it's an interesting relationship. But anyway, so of one thing of the first thing to establish is that the Dealer of Ideas platform has always been like a way for me to share my ideas with the world, and sharing my ideas with the world means using technology, and so it means somewhat experimenting with technology as well. But I mean, that is basically about sharing my ideas and also my journey, and so it's subsidiary to like like the important thing is like, you know, what is my journey? Like the Dealer of Ideas is like just a sort of a reflection slash like channeling of that, right? But anyway, so of note to the Dealer of Ideas platform, the first thing I want to say is that I did meet with the chief science officer at NASA recently about what I'm doing in life and how I have many ideas. And what happened was, like, he told me that they're all good ideas, but I need to focus. So after that meeting, I wrote down what are the 5 things that I like am most passionate about doing, and I wrote down music, science education videos, reality star, comedy, and a company. Okay. So I was like, okay, well, if I want to focus on anything, it's going to be one of these 5 things, right? And so I sort of felt like I needed to choose between music and science education because those were what I was most passionate about, and I need to focus. And so it'd be better if I just choose one. And so at that time, the science education videos option had been basically me making videos on science topics, educational videos on science topics with diagrammatic animation. So just really just videos that make it really easy and intuitive to understand the scientific concepts. And I was thinking about like starting to make those types of videos and like, you know, eventually get paid and you know, have like a company, sort of like make a living around that. Like, so what happened was, I'm at this hackerspace, and so there was this event called 5 Minutes of Fame where anybody can sign up to give a 5-minute talk on what they're working on, because Noisebridge is a place for people to work on creative technical projects. So I signed up to give that talk, almost like as a way to force me to sort of defend my ideas in front of other people, because I wanted to have the sort of kick on my butt to get me to like really figure out what it is that I'm doing, needing to sort of explain that to many people in a semi-official setting. So that's why I was really excited about the opportunity to do it. Was more for my benefit than for the other people. And so I struggled to come up with what I would name that talk, but I ended up naming it Contemporary Cognitive Exoskeleton Creation. So then I started organizing my thoughts around it. And originally I was writing about how, like, I'm trying to spend my time doing what I want to do. And so that means that, like, I want this ideal brain-computer interface that would do everything for me that I didn't want to have to do, and it would help me do the things that I do want to do. So I would only be spending my time on the actual parts of a process that I really, really want to. And so then, like, the more I thought about talking about that, I was like, wait a second, the important thing is not the system that helps me do what I want to do. The important thing is figuring out what is it that I actually want to do. And so when I thought about that, I came up with like this process of learn, create, communicate, and it's all based on data. Learning is taking in data, creating is like sort of mixing it with what you already have in your mind, which creates new data, and then communicating is like converting what's in your mind into external data, and that data can then be, you know, taken in by others. So like that's what I really love doing, is learning and creating and communicating, sort of in the cognitive sense. And I had never really thought about myself in that way before. So that was really helpful that I signed up to do this talk. And so when I was in the process of preparing for this talk, and I probably spent a total of like 8 hours, I would estimate, preparing for, I did a lot of work, a lot of thinking, a lot of drafts. I have like 5 documents, fairly long, where like each one is pretty different from the last, until I finally got to my actual presentation. And the actual presentation, I actually had it filmed, and it is going to be posted on my channel. So the name of my talk was Using Technology to Unleash Creativity. And so that's the name of my talk. And it's funny because when I first thought about what to call the talk, that's what I came up with. And then I changed it to Contemporary Cognitive Exoskeleton Creation. And then I ended up actually making the decision to change it back to Using Technology to Unleash Creativity. And so when I was preparing for that talk, I was really thinking about like my blog and making science education videos, and like really how am I gonna make money from my interests. And I got to thinking, just like, you know what, I just want to travel, and I need to do it as soon as possible. Like, it doesn't matter whether I'm making money from like a blog or anything like that. Like, if I can make money some other way, and like just figure out a way to travel as soon as possible. And I was like, and then the cool thing about me coming to that decision earlier was that like if I have such a if I'm really trying to do what I really want to do, like for example, let's say like travel to Brazil, then like it'll just motivate me more than anything else. And so what would happen would be that because I would give myself permission essentially to do what I most want to do, for example, go to Brazil, that would mean that I would work harder to make money than in any other scenario. And so then I would make that money because I'm working harder, and then I would go to Brazil, right? And so I was like, oh yeah, I'm totally gonna do that. And then another really big point that I need to talk about right here is how also in the process of preparing for that talk that I gave, I was thinking about like dealer of ideas, like it's so many things. It's me sharing my ideas in art, me getting the chance to talk about the things that I want to talk about, sharing my life and my journey, like videos and writing and video log and stuff. And I was like, okay, but that's too like nebulous. And I definitely do need a way to make money. And so, okay, I was like, okay, so I need to like stop thinking about it in terms of dealer of ideas. Like recently I've been writing on my to-do list, like dealer of ideas, right? I was like, no, it's not. Okay, like it is dealer of ideas sort of like originally, but the important thing is the application and the focus, which is the blog. And like just the switch of just thinking about it differently, just going from thinking about it as dealer of ideas to thinking about it as the blog, it made a huge difference that made me feel so much more focused and like secure and focused basically, because like if it's a blog, then that makes it just really clear what I need to do, which is make the blog as good as possible and get readers. And that again is just solely a cognitive mental sort of thing, because what happened is in going from the concept, this nebulous concept of a bunch of things like quotes, articles, video log, videos, etc., it just becomes like blog. And so then associating all of those like connected things into one new term, blog, allows me then to make the phrase, make the blog as good as possible, which makes sense and has meaning. But make dealer of ideas as good as possible, that doesn't really have so much sense or meaning, because what is the purpose of dealer of ideas? That's too nebulous, right? But blog is different. Blog has a purpose. Purpose is basically to get readers, and then if you want, then to monetize that, right? So it was just really helpful for me to think about the fact that, okay, I'm working on a blog. Also, that makes it much easier to explain it to other people, which is a very important thing. It's incredibly important to be able to explain yourself in a succinct way. I know that might be somewhat ironic for me to say that right now, given that this video is already 14 minutes long, but hopefully if my videos are long, that's because they're full of so many ideas and I am expressing them succinctly. But there's just so many that there's no way that it's not going to take a long time. Hopefully, right? I'll leave you guys to decide on that for yourselves. But, that totally distracted me. Where was I? Talking about, oh yeah, talking to other people, right? So, when I'm talking about like being able to express yourself succinctly to other people, that means figuring out how to express it on the terms that are what they're able to connect with, and not like how you yourself most naturally want to express them, right? So if like to me what's important is like the dealer of ideas aspect, sort of like the personal expression aspect, doing what I want aspect, creativity, sharing, etc. Like that's definitely there, but instead of like communicating that aspect to people, communicate blog, and that makes you seem like you really know what you're doing, like you're focused. Also, it is, yes, somewhat traditional and established and conventional, which honestly, when talking with certain people, it's sort of good to make yourself seem more that way, you know, depending on the type of person you're talking to. So it was a useful tool, I felt, for me to come up with that, option of just saying what I'm doing is I'm working on a blog. Yep, I'm a blogger. Yep, I want to make a good blog. That sort of stuff. Okay, so in short summary, I had these two different points I wanted to make, which was that I started thinking about it as a blog rather than as Dealer of Ideas. And I also started thinking about how I really am just trying to travel as soon as possible. And so also thinking about traveling as soon as possible makes me think really, 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 really like, oh man, I need to just become a digital nomad, and that's what I want to do. And in case you don't know what a digital nomad is, it's someone who can make enough money to support themselves entirely online, which means that they become location independent and can go wherever they want, whenever they want. So I want to become a digital nomad, and the cool thing is that goes really complementary alongside my new sort of articulation of like blog, and now I have this all other articulation of becoming a digital nomad, and one is sort of a vehicle and the other is a goal. So if you're gonna go somewhere, you need a goal and you need a vehicle. You need a destination, you need a vehicle, right? And so maybe I didn't have those before, and so it was kind of like I was a blob that had no capability of going anywhere, but aside from that, like, didn't have anywhere to go, didn't know where to go, right? And so in that case, it's kind of a stasis, like it's kind of okay, like you don't really know where to go, you don't have a super huge idea to go somewhere, but also you can't, right? So that's the kind of happiness, right? You can be content with that. And I think I've definitely heard this point somewhere else expressed in a similar way. I'm totally having deja vu right now. By the way, deja vu in the Matrix is when there's a glitch in like the algorithmic software that's like controlling the whole thing, by the way. And so yeah, so it was really cool because I felt like, oh, you know what, I have a new goal, a more clear goal. I want to become a digital nomad as soon as possible. And now I like have more further articulated what I'm doing, which is a blog, and it's like, okay, now I can have a really specific goal, which is like work on my blog, make my blog as good as possible so that I can start making enough money from it as soon as possible so that I can travel. So then that would give me a vehicle and a goal, and then like I'd have this fire under my ass, and then like, you know, I'd like make it happen. And then the cool thing is that would be food for the blog itself, because then I would have these things that I'm trying to do and I can write about them, and then they're going to be causing me to have all these ideas and look up interesting things and want to communicate them, and like, you know, interesting things in relation to using a blog in order to become a digital nomad, right? So it would be a blog about using that very blog in order to become a digital nomad, but not really, because it would be a bunch of things. But and it would still be all Dealer of Ideas all the time. Anyway, so then I gave the talk, and today I was thinking more about things, and also in the talk, so I'm gonna go back up a bit, and because I realized that my order's wrong, I'm gonna give some background context and then the conclusion. So the background context is that and there was another important thing that I figured out as I was working on the talk that I gave at Noisebridge, which was okay. Here's the idea. Ideally, I will spend my time doing what I want to do, right? But like, you can imagine an extreme where I give only concern to what I want to do and none to adding value to others. And that would mean that I would make no money, right? And so then you can just imagine like a dial, right? And so that's one extreme, and at the other extreme is only focusing on adding value to others and not doing what you want to do at all and making a lot of money, right? But so you can like tune the dial, right, and figure out where you want to be on the dial. I think generally it's better, to be closer to the side of doing what you want to do. But so I was like, okay, so what I want to do is kind of broad, and there's ways I could focus it or narrow it or channel it, and still be totally content. But like certain directions of channeling would be more of value to others. So I was thinking about like, okay, well, what would be a way of like making my blog or making Dealer of Ideas more focused, more thinking about adding value to others, more targeted and for a specific purpose and goal. And so I got the idea, I should like create a blog in order to help the lay person or just the general audience understand and keep up to date with theory about the future, like what's going to happen in the future, as well as current developments that are very important to the future. So basically informing people about, here's what we think, as in like people that think about the future, here's what people that think about the future think about what reality and what society and like way of life will be in 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 years. Like tell people about that, and then keep people up to date with like the mechanics behind the current developments in science and technology, and how like the currently progressing developments in science and technology relate to these various future scenarios that there are, right? So that's really important. The future is super important. Everybody needs to know about it, and honestly use the insights from thinking about the future in order to modify how you're living today, because like shit's gonna change a lot really soon, and most people don't realize that. So like if I could make a blog like that to help other people, it would be super valuable, I think. So I was thinking about that, and I wrote that down. And now I have had a conclusion that I feel like wraps up Threads and felt conclusive enough to me to spur me to do this video log right now. So it's, I think, like somewhat notable conclusion. And that conclusion is that rather than just doing one blog and like compromising about the position of the dial, I should just do 2 blogs. And one blog will be totally just what I want to do, just totally whatever I feel like putting out there, so I don't have to worry at all about adding value or a target audience or cohesiveness or anything. It's gonna just be me doing my thing. So that's one. And then the other blog I was thinking is more like a company, more specifically targeted to adding value to others in society, and like very in respect to the viewers, and being very appropriate and germane and trustworthy, like basically like a news source or like a media content creator. So basically it's similar to the idea that I was just coming up with informing people about future theory and what's going on now, but more focused on AI and probably cognitive science and technology in a broader sense. that is an area that I do have some background in. I have some background in neuroscience and some computational neuroscience. And it's something that I have really been heading in the direction of studying more from the other side of actual machine learning in the software coding language Python. And also I'm in the Bay Area where that's where all of this stuff is happening. And it's so if I could further explore my interest in AI by doing a lot of reading and talking to people, and then also help society by figuring out really easy to digest ways to communicate that information with other people, then it could be an awesome outlet for me. It could give me a goal and a sense of helping society. And it could also definitely be profitable venture. And it would, it's just something very, very important, basically, to inform people about what's happening around the space of cognitive science and technology, because that is the future. That is the area that will profoundly change everything more than anything else. And so if I could really, it's what fascinates me, and I think I might be able to communicate those issues and those concepts in a very effective way. So I was super fired up about getting this idea to do this, basically a media platform around the future of cognitive science and technology. So AI and neuroscience and neural implants and brain-computer interface and cyborgs and virtual reality and artificial reality and all of that sort of stuff. That stuff is super, super, super important. And the better and more clear that it can be explained in the most varied ways, the better off that society and people are. So I'm not concerned if other people are doing this. I think the more people that are doing this, the better. And I'm going to do it in the way that I think works. And it's not necessarily going to be better or worse, but it's going to be maybe a different way than anyone else. So for some people, it might have value. And so I was looking at my to-do list. Well, no, more like my project list, after I came up with this new idea, and it sort of just seemed to fit. It sort of just seemed to make sense, sort of just having two blogs, basically. And the one blog, the idea for the new blog is just something that seems so alluring and so perfect for me. I've just naturally been doing this kind of thing just because it's the kind of thing that I really, really like to do. I just have... Okay, well, so when I was in college, I directed the Bioscience Society and was all about keeping up to date with cool new advancements in was mostly bioscience related stuff. So I picked the articles and I led the discussions, and I wrote an article on technologies around life extension, a popular science article for my school's journal. And then when I was a senior at Design, and I taught my own course to students called Introduction to Emerging and Futuristic Technologies. So if those are things that I did totally of my own creation, I created that club, I created that course, I wrote that article. I think that shows me that that's the kind of stuff that I'm really passionate about doing. So making this blog / media content provider, in an educational sense, around emerging developments in cognitive science and technology, dude, that's my jam, because like I'm fascinated about developments in cognitive science and technology. Like if there was anything I could do, it would be to like keep up with developments in cognitive science and technology. So if I can, like, so that means that I'm gonna love to share about it because it's what I want to find out. So that's gonna be the end for this video log today. Like I said, my sort of format keeps changing, but sometimes I really do get just like the sudden urge to just record, and so that's a hugely important thing for me, is being able to express precisely at the moment that I get the urge to express it. And so when I talk about like building a cognitive exoskeleton, that's not a good way of describing it. Better way of describing it would say like it's really important to me to be able to express at the moment that I get the inspiration. And so like technology can help with that. And yeah. Anyway, subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks. Peace out. The really crucial point, which I completely forgot to add in that last video, was that a big thing that I'm going to be looking for and having my eye out when I'm at the Maker Faire, is any sort of thing that will help me to unleash my creativity. So that's really the theme of me going to the Maker Faire, and that's what I'm going to have my eye out for. So that's the crucial piece of info that I left out from the last video.